Call meeting to order. First off, I'd like to, if we could, have a motion to excuse the deputy warden, please. Go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Deputy Warden John Cunningham from this meeting.
It's been moved. Been moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Cushion. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you very much. I'm going to make a few comments here to the public, as we are televised, and we do have some people making a presentation shortly. In 2001, September 11th was a day that I guess a lot of people remember, and some people will remember exactly where they were when they heard the news of the Twin Towers in the city of New York. And I've talked to some people over the last week and so on. The comment, we've often heard the phrase, firefighters rush in where other people are rushing out. But in that tragedy of all the residents and citizens of New York, the firefighters, police officers, and so on that lost their lives, it was brought to my attention that there was a lot of people lost their lives months after, even years after, because of the contamination of the byproduct and so on, the smoke, the asbestos and everything else, that other people that were in the rescue efforts and so on 2 or 3 years later passed away because of that. And I had forgotten that and didn't really realize the impact that it had. We looked at, I guess there were around 3,000 people that were killed that day, but there was a lot of people that lost their lives later, had their lives changed and so on. So I'd ask my fellow councillors and those that are in the audience this morning if we would stand and give a moment of silence in remembrance for those. Thank you very much. I did have the opportunity to speak to a lady who was from New York, and shortly after that happened, her and her husband bought a summer home here in Yarmouth County, and her husband was an iron worker, and he was at Ground Zero helping with the search and the cleanup and so on. And they faithfully visited Yarmouth every summer, stayed here. And her husband passed away a couple of years ago, and she has moved full-time residency here to Yarmouth. But she still has memories of 9/11, and it'll be with her for her whole life. So it did affect a lot of people and so on. So. On that note, we'll move on. Item number 3 was declaration of any conflict of interest in the agenda. If any councillor does see any, please state it when the topic comes up. Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda and so on. There's nothing else any councillor wishes to add. On saying that, then we'll move into item number 5, presentations. The Yarmouth Golf and Country Club Board, capital improvements to the golf club. Richard Hurlbert, George Watkins, and I'm not sure, Frank, no, I didn't think so. Okay, if you'd come down and just hit the big red button there, and I'll go ahead, your mic is on.
Thank
And-
you, Warden, Council, and staff. I appreciate you giving us the time this morning. We're here asking for some financial assistance at the Yarmouth Golf and Country Club. As you know, we're going through weather patterns that are changing dramatically, and this year our course was severely impacted by the weather. The conditions, people were not allowed out on the course until, I think it was July, before people were allowed out on the course, and we're losing revenue and members. And we're competing naturally with the Pubnico and Clare Golf Course, where they already have cart paths. We have seniors in our community that cannot walk the course anymore. And we have professionals that basically do not want to walk the course. They want to have carts. So we've decided as a board, and I want to also iterate that we are all volunteers at the Yarmouth Golf and Country Club. We're a not-for-profit organization, and we have a paid staff. George Watkins is our manager, and we have 4 grounds people and 3 in the canteen and the pro shop helping out only in the summer months. So we took it on this year that we had to put cart paths in to make our course more accessible for our seniors and for people to be able to play golf. So we went out for asking for pricing, and we got pricing of $200,000. We knew we could not meet that goal to do that. So we sat down, and myself as the grounds chair of the golf course, we looked, and a bunch of the members all came up to the plate and said, let's do this ourselves as volunteers. And so people have stepped up to the plate, and we decided to do the cart paths on our own with volunteers and just hiring the machinery, renting the machinery at the cost. So that's what we've done, and we got our price down to $120,000 to do it. And as you know, the main cost here is all the gravels that you have to use onto the, George had a heart attack when I told him it was 130 metric ton of gravel per 100 yards of golf cart paths. And no one could believe that. Well, we proved it. That's what it is. So anyhow, our course, as I said, all volunteer board members. And matter of fact, our treasurer was going to come this morning, but he found it maybe a conflict with your council because he's also your accountant, and that's Chris Ellis. And our president is Ryan Gowdy, who could not make it because of Hurricane Dorian. He's now up in Digby helping him because of power in that outage. Anyhow, we have started the cart paths, and I have a breakdown of what it's cost us to do it, is the $120,000, and where the money is right now. To date, we, the Golf and Country Club put in $30,000 that we had in capital reserve, so in case of emergency. Well, we feel this is an emergency. To keep our golf course, we have to put the cart paths in. And visualize the community without the golf course. You know, that's a community asset because of volunteers running it. So the club put the $30,000 in. The town gave us $20,000 over 2 years, so that's $10,000 a year. The First Nations gave $10,000 towards the cart paths. Pink Star Barrel gave us $5,000, and one donor he wanted to keep his name out of the limelight gave us $5,000, and by the membership we've raised and fundraising we've raised $10,000. So we are $40,000 short of meeting our ultimate goal. And the cart paths, it's over 2 years. We knew we could not do it all year one, so we're doing it over 2 years. We wanted to get at least 9 holes open this year so that our members next year would be able to at least do 9 holes and do them twice if they had to, if the weather patterns stay the way they are, and I don't think it's going to change much. We have numerous groups that come and use our facility, like the hospital
Jody Shelley, yeah.
board.
Foundation.
They use our facilities. A matter of fact, this past weekend, the wine and
Wine, seafood.
they used our facilities because of the weather conditions, and we have numerous other groups that use it. So with the, and something that caught my eye naturally was last June, the last week of June, just before school closed, which is kind of near and dear to my heart, Carleton School, they brought one class here. We have free junior golf to anyone that wants to play up to the age of 18, 16, can come and play at our course. And we also give training every Monday, free of charge to junior golfers, because that's the next group coming up. But anyhow, as Carleton is near and dear to my heart, they brought one class in, and I stood there and I watched those children, and they had such a great time. Well, they're from Carleton and Kemp and Forest Glen. They don't get out much to the golf course. They were just so excited to be there for that day and using the practice facilities, and we had our junior coach was there helping them out. It was just it was wonderful to see. But we have that every Monday of all through the summer of juniors that come out and they have practice, and then we let them go out and they play 9 holes or whatever they want to play. So it's good for the community. And we've been talking to Joint Leisure about other ways that if we can make our facility more accessible to the public, i.e. cross-country skiing in the wintertime, and there's numerous other children to go sliding in the wintertime. And if we have the cart paths done around the perimeter of the golf course, and we do the grooming of the snow, you know, what a great place, and it's right here in our community. Yeah. So, and I'm sure somebody's going to ask me, and I'll tell you, our membership is made up of 60% the municipality, members from the municipality, and 40% from the town. So with that, I'd open it up to any questions or whatever the council decides.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions or concerns? Councillor Cushion, you have the floor.
Thank you, Richard and George, for being here. There's no doubt in my mind how important the golf course is. We've been talking ever since I've been councillor about how to attract professionals, doctors, and to come to our area, and we're talking about the Mariner Center and expansion there and how important it is to have facilities in place to attract businesses and professionals and so on and so on. Well, as you're well aware, and you've alluded to also, that professionals like to golf. Number two, a lot of seniors, including me, cannot walk the course because it's just too hard on my knees. And number three, if you can't use your cart to go to play golf, then you don't buy a membership, which I never did this year because of the wet storm we had, but also medical reasons too, right? But I plan on joining again next year. But the person I usually play golf with, who has the cart, he hasn't been able to go out. Never was able to go out the springtime, usually when we do start, because it was just too wet and wasn't allowed on the course. So the golf carts would certainly contribute to more activity on the golf course at an earlier time, and if it's a wet situation, would certainly help. Secondly, here's an opportunity again for our golf course to improve the facilities, to improve and to encourage other activities at that facility, and for us to grow. Over the years, I've always heard rumors with certain people say, I'm not playing at Yarmouth because it's just open, there's no challenge and whatnot and so on. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. But to me, I find Yarmouth Golf Course is a challenge because I'm not the person who always shoot a nice straight ball. And if you get it in that rough at all, by jingle, well, you have a job trying to find it or you can't find it. So it is a challenge. It is, I think it's called more of a links golf course, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I've had the opportunity to play on some pretty high professional link golf course. Well, I certainly wasn't a professional, but you know, I would say we can compare to that with the scenery that we do have over the harbor and whatnot. So I think it's very important for us to look at improving our Yarmouth Golf Club. There's going to be some criticism about it, no doubt about it. But it's there. It's an opportunity for us to help grow our municipality, to help grow our people moving in, to help encourage our professionals and businesses to come and to open up the doors for more, how can I say, private business saying, we like to book the golf course for an event that all our employees or all our contacts and whatnot can go and have a game of golf. So I think it's very important that we look at doing something to help. Thank you.
Very
If I
much.
may, Mr. Warden, our new manager, this is only George's second year at the Lynx. He's already reached out to the hospital board and told them, like, if we have new professionals, and I know how hard it is attracting new doctors, but we would give them some free green fees to get them, to show them that we have the facility here, and then if they want to become a member, and naturally, it's helping our course, but it's also helping the professionals here to know that we have the facilities here. So, and, you know, this wasn't taken lightly. Like, there's other things that we could be doing at the course, but we know that this is critical. We don't do this, you know, we might not have a course here in a couple of years' time. So we have to do it. That's all there is to it. And I appreciate, Mr. Warden, you giving us a time, and I know it's the middle of your year, but it was something that we decided that we had to do, or else. What's next spring going to be like? What was Dorian just went through? You should have seen the links there. But the car paths that we've already started to install never moved a bit. So, anyhow, thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
It was a compelling presentation, so it was really good. And, you know, I agree with everything that's been said. It's an important piece of infrastructure, and it isn't operational funding you're asking for. It's capital stuff that's going to be in the ground for forever, right? I mean, those paths won't require, you know, a lot of upkeep over the years. So, in any event, that's the good part. It's a critical piece of infrastructure in the community, I agree, for professionals and for seniors. And we were just talking outside, incidentally, and we talked about the possibility at Recreation of installing Frisbee golf. So that would be you know, if we could get the perimeter fixed up with that, that would be a great place to certainly do some Frisbee golf, potentially. That's a small part of the golf operation, I understand, but that would be a bonus. So in any event, you gave us some numbers that 60% of members are from the municipality. I just did some quick math. 6/4 of 10,000, $15,000. That would be $15,000 per year if you're going to do the math on and the contribution on over 2 years compared to the town. So I mean, I'm in favor of it. You know, certainly pushing for at least $10,000 per year and maybe a little bit more. But I'd like to bring that to the next council meeting, certainly for conversation. You know, maybe starting at you know, the conversation at $15,000 per year over 2 years, and then we can have a conversation in the public venue at next council meeting and decide on a number to support you. So I'm fully supportive of the golf course and what you're proposing to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just a couple quick questions in terms of cash flow. So as you stated, we are in the middle of a budget year, and just to understand, you know, in terms of if council wishes to make a move, how we might manage it logistically. So you're doing the project over 2 years.
Yes.
So a $120,000 project over 2 years. You've got an $80,000 commitment, but what's the cash flow situation?
We, as I stated, we had 15, the board authorized $15,000 for this year, $15,000 for next year. The town has made the motion, $10,000 this year and $10,000 next year. First Nations has given us, we have to present them with a bill. It's the J. Strong Foundation that's given us and through this year. And Pink Star Barrow has committed $5,000, and they're giving us $25 this year and $25 next year. And the fundraising's already been done, the $10,000. Okay?
Okay. Councillor Allen, you have the floor.
Yes, well, I've seen George out, I've been out a few times. I enjoy Yarmouth, always have. I guess 60% of your membership come from the municipality. What is your total membership?
Right handy, 225 to 230.
So 225 members. How many of them are seniors? That need their cards. Like, I'm just trying to put numbers into
It would
perspective as
definitely be
opposed to other asks that we get here that we hash over.
Would definitely be over the 60-40 ratio, seniors to non. The last time we did an average age at our golf course, it was right handy 62.
About 62% are
age.
seniors.
No, the average age of a member. It was just something that we investigated at one point with the aging population of our golf course. We wanted to know what would the average age be. The average age of a member at Yarmouth Links as of a couple years ago was 62.
Right, so out of the municipality, we roughly have about 125 members playing golf at your course. And of that, the seniors that are generally using the carts, we're at about 75. So, I'm just being the devil's advocate here, I'm just trying to, you know, I completely agree, it's a staple in our community. Again, it's another recreation facility type thing that draws people to our area. I know Yarmouth just won the Gowdy Cup on the weekend, which was very good showing for local athletes. I just, you know, I agree with Trevor, this is definitely something we have to have for discussion. I'm a numbers kind of guy, and I like to know where the money's going and how it's supporting.
If I could, I'd like to add a little bit to Councillor Cushing's point to where raising the how can I put it? The way people look at Yarmouth Links. It was mandated to me when I started my job. We're not looking to bring Yarmouth Links to Augusta National standard. But as a working piece of infrastructure in our community, we want it to reflect what's been done on the waterfront, just for an example. Trying to raise the perception. I can speak to Councillor Cushing's point that anyone that believes Yarmouth is an easy trek in golf, Daniel, you've played there. Put a 20-mile-an-hour headwind on most days at the golf course will stand up for itself. On a bluebird sunny day, a good golfer can eat it up, but it will humble you the next day.
Well, I've been humbled on it more often than I know than the other way. I just, you know,
I look at this as,
you know, we as Richard would probably know, and we have a lot of asks, and it's definitely something that we're going to have to discuss.
definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I just feel like this is probably a grant application that we're looking at as to how to go about this. So, anyways, I just Just for my own benefit, I just wanted to know what the numbers look like, so, okay, thank you.
Mr. Warden, we had people that, we could have filled the gallery here today. People wanted to come in, and there was a gentleman, what's his name?
Jim Crosby.
No, the guy that just retired.
Ross is in the town.
Ross.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he just moved here, retired banker from Ontario, Toronto, and he found Yarmouth to be the place that he wanted to retire. He retired here, and he came to our board meeting, my grounds meeting, and he said, I would not have retired here if there wasn't a golf course here. You know, Fred Graham, it was ex-RCMP. Him and his wife said they would have never stayed in this town if there wasn't a golf course here. And we have I hear that more often, so, you know, we need all the facilities, like our recreation right up here, state-of-the-art, as far as I'm concerned, and we need all the facilities in our community.
Yes, yes, we do. Councillor LeBlanc, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, George and Richard. Nice blue you have on there.
Thank you.
Richard.
It's gonna stay that way, too.
I like that.
Sorry, we're off track here.
The one thing that we have to look forward to is the tourist industry. It's growing, it's at a really, really fast, and it's supposed to bring a lot of tourists in the area. We're working on the expansion of the Mariner Center if we get it. Let's hope. And plus, we're working on our the Yarmouth Lighthouse. That's the icon. That's going to bring a lot of tourists. And golf is in that circle also. You know, it's going to. All these things are going to bring in tourists, and the percentage of seniors that you have at the golf club, you know, it seems like the car pass is something that you need. Don't tell that to my brother, though. He doesn't think he's a senior yet. Anyways, we'll have a debate on that, and
Yep.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Councillor Cushion, you have the floor.
I know I already did my little thing, but there's something I wanted to bring up after the discussions going on. You talk about the whole board as volunteers and whatnot. Well, there's also volunteers that look after the gardens out there, the flowers and whatnot.
And my wife.
And she does a heck of a job on them, number one, you know, so it's that, and that helps too. When you go out, my favorite thing about going any golf course is just to look at things, how things are. There's trees, there's gardens, there's hazards, and, you know, it's just interesting, right? Now, we talked about the membership and whatnot. Do you guys keep track of how many non-members play golf during the run of a year?
Yes, we do.
And do we have numbers on that?
I don't have them with me today.
Okay. That'd be good information
Yes.
too.
Yeah, there's obviously thousands of rounds of golf played at the golf course in a given summer.
Yeah. So that's important.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And also my grandson took part of those Monday things too, right?
Juniors,
And-
yeah.
And now we're
It's a
getting
great-
back in to do again.
Good package.
Another set of golf clubs I had to buy. I bought a lot of golf clubs over the years.
I see all the mics are off, so I guess it's my opportunity to say a few words. In Southwest Nova, I'm going from Barrington up as far as Clare. There's basically, with the Yarmouth, there's 4 golf clubs. And having a golf club or a golf course in your own area, like Yarmouth County, and like say the one in Pubnico and so on, the people of Pubnico, it's good to have one right there because they can go and play. But I also realized that a lot of golfers travel, and I know at one time there used to be a fair amount, and I assume there still is, a fair amount of people from Yarmouth that play golf, go and play at Paragon, is it, or whatever, up in the valley?
yeah.
And so on, and so on. So my hope is that some of those people up there are invited to come and play here.
Absolutely.
And so on. So a golf course is an important piece of infrastructure, as Councillor Cunningham has stated, and so on, and as Councillor Cushion stated. And I know that the municipality will look at this and debate it, but have you put in a grant? I haven't seen a grant.
I have it, I just got it, and
Okay.
I wanted to go over it with your CAO, because I
Okay.
filled it out, the financial, that side. So
Yes.
anyhow, if there's any
Okay,
questions, I'm available, and I'm only
Yep.
a block away, I can drive
Yes.
up.
Okay, we'd like to have that as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
You can have it
So that we
today, yeah.
can go through that. I'm not sure, and I won't be discussing it right now, but what we have in our contingency and so on for this year. But you do plan on trying to continue doing some of these
Yeah,
things?
yes.
Okay, that, for this fall and so on, so that you can have at least nine.
That's right.
9 holes done. Okay, the other thing is that it was mentioned about people being able to get out and play and so on. Well, Leland doesn't play golf, don't intend to play golf and so on, but I do have issues. I have bad knees. My upper body, yeah, I can still probably swing a golf club, but I wouldn't be able to walk your course. So I guess you've opened my eyes a little bit to, if I could drive the course, then I could walk to the greens, et cetera, and play, but I wouldn't be able to walk the course. So I guess you've brought a good point forward to this council, and maybe to a lot of people. If there's the opportunity to be able to drive the course, your membership may go up, and you may get more people, and so on, to help yourself along, and so on, which is good. If there's no further questions, I don't know if the CAO has any further at this. You have any last comments or anything
I
at this
just
time?
have this to.
Yes, yep, we'll take that. Thank you very much for your
Thank you for your
presentation.
time.
And
Appreciate
we'll
it.
look very,
Thank
very close at it.
Yeah, it was giving me a heartburn.
I'd like to make a quick comment pertaining to, as Richard stated, about different usage of the golf club itself. Because of the storm Dorian that came through on Saturday, the Wine and Seafood Extravaganza Committee, which was going to have On the Rocks out at the Lighthouse, they had canceled that for at the Lighthouse and was going to have it at the golf club on Saturday. Well, we had the issue with the storm on Saturday. Power was out, so they couldn't have it on Saturday. But they also had what they called On the Shore in Pubnico on Sunday, and my understanding was it was well attended, it was enjoyed by all, and they had a real good time there. But the one for Saturday on the Rocks was held on Monday at the Golf and Country Club, and I was able to attend that event, and it was a sold-out event. There was a lot of people there, a lot of prominent people and so on, and the guests put on quite a display of cooking of different foods and so on. The owners of the resort in Jamaica, both Jason and his mother Sally were there, and it was a great showing and so on, and I'm hoping from my discussions with them on Monday that there may be the opportunity, hopefully here in the very near future, that a product may be able to be produced here in, I'll say, Yarmouth County, and if so, that they would like to do the release of that product here in Yarmouth in the upcoming year or so. So, I mean, it's moving forward. But on Friday night, I had been asked to attend an opening event, which was invitation only. And I had a discussion, a quick and short discussion with the CAO, and I made a presentation to Jason, and that was a picture of our lighthouse, our icon. And the reason I made that presentation was a simple thought that popped into my head, because on Thursday night I attended a short presentation by these same said people, and in Jamaica on this point of land where this resort is, they have an 1,800-foot elevation. And on top of that 1,800-foot elevation, there is a lighthouse. It is the tallest standing structure, or tallest standing lighthouse in the world, with an 1,800-foot elevation. So, and I thought, well, what better way is to, with the tallest lighthouse or structure, that we give them the most unique lighthouse in all of the world. So I presented it to him on Friday night with the request that it hangs in the lobby of their resort with the explanation of where that lighthouse is and so on. And he faithfully said that it would. His mother promised me on Monday that that is where it will hang and so on. So there will be a little piece of the Yarmouth municipality in at this resort. So if anybody goes down, but there is a contingent going down on October 17th, and it is another cultural exchange and so on, and a lot of cooking of food and so on. I just wanted to let you know that that happened over this past weekend, and it was well attended, and I enjoyed myself immensely. Thank you. Our next presentation is the YMCA request for pool repair maintenance funding. Chris Brown and Beth Fury. Okay, if you come down, please.
The chair so I can see Lauren. Thank you. Okay.
Go ahead, the mic is on.
Okay. Good morning, council. Good to see everyone survive the storm. I'm Chris Brown, the new chair of the Board of Directors of the Yarmouth YMCA. And with me today is Dr. Beth Fury, also a board member of the Yarmouth YMCA. We're here today to request your financial assistance with respect to repairs and ongoing maintenance of our 52-year-old pool. In the last year at the YMCA, we've had to replace approximately $100,000 worth of equipment unexpectedly. Both air handling units supplying the pool area went down, and we did have to close the pool a few days because of excessive heat on the pool deck. We do operate on a very tight budget, so this has caused us to have to max out our line of credit of $100,000, causing a major cash flow crunch. And the cost of running the pool annually is very high. And from our slide here, you can see that it's $248,000 annually, and the costs are broken down. So the total is the bottom right corner, 248. So without increased assistance, we cannot continue. Our first option, without more funding, would be to close the pool, as the fitness center is the money-making engine that subsidizes pool costs. We are respectfully asking you to move to the funding level in line with the other two municipal units. The town of Yarmouth has recently increased its grant to $56,000, and the municipality of Argyle has just doubled its grant to $30,000 and sent a $15,000 check for retroactive payments to last year. The other two units would like to continue to support us and help us out with our needs, but will not do so unless there is a reasonable sharing of the assistance. Our membership numbers show that your constituents have usage of more than the residents of Argyle, so we feel their level of support should be at least the baseline of assistance. Your residents make up 32% of our membership, but only 13% of municipal funding. Argyle has 21.8% of membership, but 30% of funding. But why support the Y? We are committed to giving the Y a revitalized future. We've now started a major fundraising campaign to wipe out our debt and invigorate a membership drive. But when we approach our prospective donors, they want to see that we have support of all the councils to show that our future's strong. They don't want to give their money, throw good money after bad. They want to show that we have a future and that we're going to be sustainable. We believe we can attract 100 new members drawn by new innovative equipment, and we can be sustainable with an improved lottery and a more personalized annual fundraising campaign. But we need time for that improved bottom line to come to fruition. We haven't officially started the new fundraising campaign, and we've already had $10,000 come in and $20,000 more pledged already. Our goal is $150,000, which I'm confident will exceed. Also, we can be a great partner in a capital campaign for an expansion project at no cost to you. That would approximate ballpark savings of possibly $200,000 over 3 years, and a great partner for operating cost savings every year at a new facility. The slide above shows a breakdown of things that we can offer. Volunteer hours. Every year, over $30,000, we have a lot of our programs and classes run by volunteers. We have a mail-out campaign that usually brings in about $25,000 a year. Large individual donations, usually it could be from estates, usually around $30,000. And as I spoke of, just this month alone, we've received 10 and 20 more pledged this month alone. And that's part and part from our charity designation, so we can offer tax receipts for those donations. Our lottery revenue last year was $85,000, and in past, and I expect this year's, will be over $100,000. Also, our property valuation at our Main Street location is about $300,000 just for the land. That money could go towards capital campaign. Corporate donations, as I said, our fundraising campaign is just starting, so we don't have a number there yet. There's also a possibility of shared services with the RIC department if that's something that you desired. Membership revenue is currently $453,000, but our surveys show that that would more than double if we were operating at the Mariner Center expanded facility. So we put that number as at least $1 million from membership revenue a year. And a good thing about partnering with the Y, there'd be no build of membership from zero. We could slide our 1,000 members that we have currently. We'd go right there and build from 1,000 instead of from zero. Also, as I mentioned a minute ago, our capital fundraising campaign would be free from Y Canada if written into our partnership. That's something that they have national resources. They would send down national Y Canada person to work on that campaign. I have some glossies here of their work that they've done for the greater Moncton area. It's top-notch, top-notch production. And like I say, they're very well established, and that's just something that their staff nationally does all across Canada. Also, we could draw upon Y Canada's building design assistance. They've, I would say, hundreds of successful facilities across Canada that they've helped design. And all that could be offered at no charge to the municipal units. So, for these reasons, we believe you need the YMCA as a project partner as much as we need you. With the kickoff of our 2019 fundraising campaign, we will have a media event and we will be stating the council funding levels. We would like a positive announcement of increased Municipality of Yarmouth assistance to be included with that media release. Wouldn't it be great to have a good news story in the media instead of a negative one? And as we know, election time is only a year away. A lot of money is spent in the area of physician recruitment and retention, and the why is a very important piece. When physicians look to come to the area, they do want to know what the area has to offer. To that effect, Dr. Fury, as board member and as a local radiologist recruited to the area, would like to speak to the importance of the pool and the YMCA to the community. Dr. Fury?
Thanks, Chris. I wonder if I need to.
Yes.
Maybe I can.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks so much for having us here today. So, as Chris mentioned, my name is Beth Fury. I'm a practicing radiologist at Yarmouth Regional Hospital, and I'm also a member of the Board of Directors at the YMCA. So, I'd like to first start by thanking you as a council. I understand that Warden Anthony and Ms. Brooks, you've been both very involved and taken a leadership role in the Mariner Center expansion project, and I personally feel that I'm in full support of this project, and I think it's going to bring really great benefits to the Tri-County area, so I thank you for that. Chris has outlined the many reasons why we think the Y would be an excellent partner and a key player for this expansion, so I won't go into that. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about what I think are the more immediate needs of the YMCA right now. While we're all uniformly supportive of the Mariner Center, realistically, opening the doors of a new facility is 3 to 5 years away. So the facility that we have now and that we have to work with is our community facility of the downtown Yarmouth Y. You're likely aware of our current financial situation, and a big part of that is trying to maintain a pool facility in an aging building with limited municipal financing. And I feel strongly that maintaining a community aquatic center until the time that the Mariners Center project becomes a reality is really crucial to the overall health and the vibrance of our community. So I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why I feel that this is true. The first one is physician recruitment and retention. So I know that this council in particular has spent significant time and resources in physician recruitment and retention. And again, I'd like to extend my thanks to council for helping us in this regard. But I will tell you that there is strong evidence that recruiting physicians comes from building community facilities first. I've talked to many physicians with young families, and they all give a top priority to a community aquatic center. I have 2 young sons, and I frequent the pool at the Yarmouth Y on a weekly basis with them. I also meet friends and colleagues there who bring their children as well. Losing our community pool not only makes the challenge of recruitment that much more difficult, but we risk losing the physicians that we already have. And I'll share a story about my own personal situation. My family and I were very close to leaving Yarmouth. We had actually accepted positions in another community about a year ago. And one of the main reasons was the inability to recruit radiologists, which led to unsustainable working conditions for my husband and I. My husband is also a radiologist. And we've since been able to recruit 2 new radiologists, and I feel that that's in no small part to the ownership that we've taken over the recruitment process and really putting ourselves out there to try and help bring people into the community. And similarly, I think the tri-councils can take ownership of this process by helping to fund the resources at the YMCA. We're always stronger when we all work together. Now, the Nova Scotia Health Authority always maintains that you need physicians to recruit physicians, and I would be thrilled to be able to tell my colleagues that the Council of the Municipality of Yarmouth supports us, understands our needs, and provides support to us in this regard. So I'd also like to say that we do have a family medicine program, and some people consider this to be like a 2-year job interview for young physicians in training. Our best chance of recruiting family doctors, which is a big problem in our area, is to maintain the training physicians here once they're finished. A number of these people are currently members at the YMCA, so that's another reason why we want to be able to keep our doors open. So the second reason that I'd like to talk about is community health and wellness. So as a physician, I have a vested interest in the overall health of our community, and particularly of our children, which I'm sure you all do as well. The YMCA is one of Canada's largest and longest standing charities, and we foster physical fitness as well as mental health and well-being. And we also foster a sense of inclusiveness for everyone. So my family has benefited from the programming at the YMCA, but more importantly, there are so many children, so many families in the Tri-County area that have benefited from the programming through the Learn to Swim program, toddler programming, day camps, recreational activities, so the list goes on and on. We live in a community that is surrounded by water, and it's really crucial for our kids from a health and safety standpoint to be given the opportunity to learn to swim. In addition to kids, the Y also supports our aging population, which is sort of difficult to do in terms of resources and recreation. One example of this would be our cardiac rehabilitation program, which is specifically designed for people that are recovering from heart attacks. So old and elderly people who can't avail of a lot of more resources that require a greater level of fitness are also welcome and encouraged at our facility. So I grew up in a rural community in Newfoundland, and I come from very modest means, but during my youth, I was a regular member at the YMCA. I swam on the swim team, I became competitive at a provincial level, I became a nationally certified lifeguard, I taught swimming lessons to young children, and during those formative years, I gained leadership skills, I gained life skills, and I also gained a sense of community from being a member at the Y. And part of who I am now and part of my success as a person can be traced back to the confidence I gained in my youth as being a member at the Y. And this is one of many successes that have happened at the Y. Chris's daughter would be another example of a nationally acclaimed swimmer and a 4.0 GPA student at Acadia who spent a lot of time and developed at the Y. So I hope this impresses on you how valuable this organization is to our community. So as Chris mentioned, we're asking at a minimum that council bring the level of funding to be at least in line with the municipality of Argyle. And of course, I would love to see a show of support, a very strong show of support at a level greater than that. And I'd love to be able to tell my physician colleagues that the municipality of Yarmouth is very supportive of building a strong community. So I'd ask that you measure the return on this investment in terms of smiling, happy, active children, in terms of building life skills and leadership skills, and in terms of demonstrating to our physicians, many of whom are not native to the community, that you support the Community Aquatic Center and the other resources provided by the YMCA. So I think measuring in this instance your return on investment by financial gains is very short-sighted and feckless. A yearly investment of $30,000 for council is a cost of only $3 per constituent. And so by all accounts, this is a really small investment compared to the many benefits that the YMCA provides. Again, our facility is aging, we know that, but it is not defunct. We need your support to help provide these services to your constituents. So we all know that we're in a situation right now that our provincial and federal counterparts are faced with a decision on whether to provide funding to a new community aquatic center and recreational complex. And so I have personally real concerns about the message that it sends if our pool is forced to close its doors because key municipal players are reluctant to support our current facility. By increasing your support to the Y, you have the opportunity to show your constituents, most importantly, but also our physician community and our federal and provincial counterparts, that you value community facilities and the many advantages that they bring. So I hope you strongly consider the impact that your support will have on the community as a whole.
Thank you, Dr. Ferry. In closing, I would also like to mention that Truro's Rath Eastlink Center is an example of an expansion model to avoid. They did not utilize Y Canada's wealth of knowledge and experience, and they've been plagued with problems and post-completion renovations totaling $2.4 million since they've opened since 2013. And they have a very expensive operating budget to the municipalities. Their financials, which I have here, prove that. I would think that's not the model to go forward with. To follow with Y Canada's wealth of experience and completely successful projects is something that you'd also want to consider. Well, thank you very much for giving us this time to present on behalf of the Yarmouth YMCA. And I'd like to just leave on the note of let's support one another. Do you have any questions for us?
Councillor Cunningham, you have the floor.
Well, yes, I have some comments, more than questions. Thank you. Very, very good presentation. The facts are all correct, which is really, really good. The why is important. We know that. It has 1,000 members. That's a big number of members, lots of whom come from Municipality District of Yarmouth. And my argument over time has been, in fact, that when we get an upgraded facility at the Mariner Centre, we will be investing a considerable amount of money in that. The capital budget will be in the tens of millions of dollars, which is a good thing. We need that. Certainly, all of what you've said about attracting people, doctors and other folks, professionals, and in general, attracting people in general to the Yarmouth area is I guess really predicated on having good facilities, good capital facilities in the area, sport, recreation, and other facilities. So, I mean, people look at that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So, having said that, we're talking about those types of investment in a new facility. Certainly, your argument's not lost on me that why would we not invest a few tens of thousands of dollars, not tens of millions, but tens of thousands of dollars in the interim to keep the pool operating. And I've been at the council table for over 10 years now, and this is a result of underfunding over a long period of time, but also a failure to do a capital program to the Y about 10 years ago. Right. There was a project that was slated to happen. It did not happen. And as a result, there's accumulated depreciation at the YMCA. It's an aquatic environment. You've got air handling units. And if you don't do those capital improvements funded by municipalities, federal and provincial governments, this is what happens. You end up with a totally depreciated facility. We're in hopes, certainly this is the Mariner Centre upgrade will happen sooner than later, but we just don't know when the funding is going to come from the feds and the province. So I'm looking forward to that announcement soon. But having said that, I'd like to ask certainly our staff in advance of our next council meeting to do the numbers so that a funding formula that's reasonable for us in relation to the other municipal units, because I think we certainly do need to support this, and we have ample financial capability within the municipality. Our capital and operating reserves are good, so we're financially healthy. So there's no reason that we can't support this important piece of infrastructure. And I know lots of people in the community where I live, which is the municipality, Dayton Hebron specifically, enjoy the Y and support the Y, and I'll be very, very supportive of making this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cunningham.
Councillor Cushion, you have the floor.
Yes, it's interesting to see this is another piece of the pie to make it attractive to bring businesses and professionals here. We already heard one presentation from the golf course, how important that is, and I can't stress enough how important the YMCA is also in the pool. I am very frustrated that the pool, the 1967 centennial year, the pool, you know, and nothing, you know, and you're still struggling with it. That's frustrating. Another point, years ago, many years ago, there's a group of us from our community used to go to the Y, I think every Wednesday night or something like that, and it's when we were younger and whatnot, so that's important. But, I'm trying to think what your name, Beth mentioned, sorry about that. Beth mentioned about families. I didn't realize how important the pool was in families, because none of my children really attended the pool that much or the YMCA that much. But I have a grandson who enjoys swimming. He's now a competitive swimmer for Nova Scotia, and he's got his lifeguarding certification and whatnot. And I know the cost to families to run this or to get them to participate in that. But one thing that we can get a payback here is we'll be able to bring competitions to Yarmouth. And we all know how Yarmouth supports sporting events and local events. We had this past weekend with on the rocks at the golf club sort of thing, and it was good turnout for that too. So there's an opportunity again for us to build our community by bringing swimming competitions in here. We have hockey competitions come in here. We have baseball competitions come in here. We have soccer competitions, basketball. We have all this stuff. This is just another piece of that pie. So I really support your efforts here, but I'm very discouraged that it's been so darn long getting that pool looked after, but we got to keep it up, you know? And so you certainly have my support.
Thank you, Councillor Cushing.
Councillor Allen, you have the floor.
Well, I'm not really, thank you guys for coming in. I was a little confused at one point. I knew we were looking for a pool funding. We get off on the expansion aspect of it. None of us, as far as I know where that's even going. So, as far as the pool that we have right now, it's got to work. You say you have 1,000 members at the Y, is that correct? And what percentage is it from the municipality?
32.
32%.
Yeah. Now, with that also, those numbers were drawn just of our percentage of our 1,000 members. We also have a lot of birthday parties.
Yeah, oh yes, and
birthday
pay by the day,
Right.
especially to use the pool, especially
Right.
for the pool, for
Right.
the swimming, for the
Swimming
children's
one.
swim and stuff. A lot of that I realize
that aren't captured in membership.
Yes.
But come from here and
Yeah.
use,
No,
especially.
and I understand that. I know a lot of people that go in and specifically for the pool.
Right.
For the children's
and
swims or for
Kids-
the senior
Kids
swims.
Act, right? We
So-
support the Kids Act.
I'm just trying to put in perspective that the pool gets used a lot.
Yeah.
And by our communities. And it definitely is something right now we should be looking at helping you with. Little disappointed that you had to bring up the fact that it's an election year and, you know, you want to, I'm disappointed in that, Chris. Sorry, that's just my opinion personally, that you brought that into the presentation, because I think the presentation was a great presentation besides that, without that. Because, again, unfortunately, we're into this doctor retention. It is part of every presentation now. I personally don't think it's just doctors. I think it's professionals as a whole that we need in our community. But we're put in this situation, and we need these facilities working. We need them. So, no, I'm in support of this. I think we have to do something as a municipality to keep that pool running. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry about the thing comment, but
Yeah.
that's, obviously, that's just my personal
Yeah.
feeling. I just, you know, we've been accused before of bringing political into this, and I don't want it to be a political thing, so.
Understand.
Yeah.
Sorry, and my inclusion of that, I was trying to make just a positive reference that we wanted to include you in our media release with it tied into our fundraising campaign. We could tie in the fact that we've received extra funding from the municipality of Yarmouth and, tie that in. And that would be good publicity for an election year. So that's kind of how I want it. But,
And,
yeah.
and I'd just like to make one quick comment. Councillor Allen and Councillor Cunningham, you both mentioned not just doctors, but all professionals. And I'm sorry if my presentation was sort of slanted toward physicians. And that's the community that I come from, but I do know many other professionals in the community. And I think you'll hear the same sentiments echoed throughout any sort of professional community here in Yarmouth. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Allen.
Councillor LeBlanc, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you for a good presentation. I'm some glad to hear that you're in support of the Mariner Centre expansion if it comes. At first, I think there was a lot of negativity towards it might have been the town, maybe it was the YMCA also about the expansion. I'm talking last year, but anyways, I'm some glad to see your support on that. One thing we need is the YMCA, the YMCA pool. We can't lose that if it's going to take 4 or 5 years to come. And if you want to mention doctors, go ahead, because we need more. So keep on. But thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor LeBlanc. There may have been certain individuals tied previously to the Y that may have wanted the YMCA to remain at its Main Street location. Yes, and I believe for sure a year ago, also Yarmouth Town Council, openly expressed their views that they did want to see the YMCA remain there. We did, myself and the CEO of the Y met with, again, Mayor Jeff Gushu and the Deputy Mayor of Yarmouth last week to give, not the presentation we gave here, but talk about a partnership in the future if the proposal for the expansion goes through. And wanted to, so I guess the second part, so that's why I also wanted to tie in. We had, I guess, 2 issues here that we need immediate funding to keep this going in the interim basis, but also, while we, I guess, had the floor, I wanted to present to say there was a secondary reason to support the Y, and that was we can be a fantastic partner in the expansion facility. So there's 2 big reasons. One, there's the community need to keep us open in the interim, but there's also keep us open so we can help out, so we can be a partner in the fundraising at no cost to you. We could be a partner with the steering committee to help design the new building and things with all these Y Canada resources. So people look at the YMCA as, oh, it's an old building, it's, it's tired, they haven't reinvested in their equipment. So their view of the Y is tainted by the Y, what the Y is right now. But we want to try to shift the gears to show what the Y can be and the benefit of Y Canada. And as soon as we have the expertise of Y Canada, and we actually have 2 individuals coming down on September 17th to meet with us and talk about our issues. So we can rely on them anytime, and that's when we get the real experts. I'm just, a volunteer chair of the board here, but we can call in the experts, and that's when it really gets exciting because they really know their stuff. And for these projects, they're more than happy to come down and give us help with whatever we need. And those people are really quality individuals. So that's the explanation of that. So we also see, the board also sees that this really is where we need to go. Our problem right now is, as I said, we want to build our membership base. So we also have to look at a fundraising campaign to eliminate our debt, but also to buy new equipment and spur on a new membership drive. Because with 100 new members, that would equate to annually about $50,000 revenue to the YMCA. So that's one thing we do have to raise some money, because we have to spend money to make money. So we have to get new membership in. And we think that that's where our future lies. If we're involved with the expanded Mariners Center and we can get our membership to 2,000, then we would be, fully sustainable for, the foreseeable future to come. So that's really what our end goal is, to get to a membership level that we can be sustainable and not having to come here for these meetings. And we cannot do that in our current building. We could entice, maybe about another 10% with some new equipment, some members that have left, and bring them back in. But we can't get to the membership level that we need to be fully sustainable on our own in that facility.
Thank you.
And thank you for your comments, Councilor Munger.
Do you have any questions?
Sure. Thank you for your presentation. It's always a privilege to continue to build on the relationship and to continue to add information. And we've had several conversations, and some of the messaging is the same, but sometimes you miss a message the first or the second time. So it's important to continue to make your arguments and make the priorities clear. And sometimes we have to hear them 2 or 3 different times in 2 or 3 different ways, for sure. The reference you made, Chris, just now about support from Y Canada coming, is that to help with this immediate capital campaign you're about to launch?
No, we do have other resources. We've sought out to our sister Y in Halifax that they can extend their fundraising person to assist our own campaign. For this campaign, so I guess we're going to get assistance from another Y. They have a full-time fundraising staffer there, so they'll give us keys and pointers and help us with our mail-outs and things like that. Y Canada would be involved for the larger capital campaign related to the expansion, but also as part of our funding crisis, we have we pay allocations to Y Canada, so we've reached out to them to suspend. This is one of the things that Y Canada will allow us to suspend our allocations that we pay to them while we're in a funding crunch. So in doing that, they say, well, if you're in a funding crunch, then you need us to come down and talk through things and have a discussion of why you got to this point and how you can get out of it. So that's part of the reason why the 2 individuals are coming later this month. And I think they would also I think they did want to meet with town council also, where we're located in the town. So that's why they're coming down. So different from our fundraising campaign, but yes, we do have other resources that are helping us with that.
So the only other question or comment that I'd have would be around leadership. So it's clear to me that the YMCA Yarmouth board is passionate about a vision, striking a big vision and generating buy-in for the vision and having people catch the passion. And leadership at the board level, but also at the staff level, would be critical for that. And I've had an opportunity to have several great conversations with the current CEO. And I would agree that leadership is very important. And if it's a time of significant change or significant challenges, focused leadership, dedicated leadership with the time and energy to spend on this one issue and this one YMCA would be a key piece of the puzzle.
Right. Yes, so we do have a center manager who is new. So I guess she's becoming acclimated and getting up to speed, where she's not from the community and has only been in the position a couple months. So we always have somebody, tasked to look after just this facility, and she's there every day. And she has assistance any time of day from our CEO, which was a model that was adopted to try to save money. So they said, well, the 3 Ys, so the Cornwallis Y, which refer to as Fundy Y, Bridgewater, and Yarmouth, share one CEO, and we also share financial services and HR services. So there is a good cost savings there, but yes, I do see your point that in times of a crisis like this, we do need, so that's why I volunteered to become chair of the board, and spurring on one thing I did, we hadn't had a fundraising committee of the board for quite a number of years at the Y, so that was the first piece that I saw that we needed. If we have a funding crisis, then we are putting a big drive on from the board, because we have the deep-rooted personal relationships in the community. So we're taking that upon ourselves, and we're pulling in others from the community to be part of that committee, and we're personally taking on that onus ourselves. We're not going to let the Y die, so that's part of why we're here. We're going to ensure that it keeps going, and that's why we just started talking about it, and I made some calls to individuals saying, look, we're in this crisis, and would you be part of the committee? And they said, yeah, and they said, I'll come by with a check. So we had 2 individuals come by with a check within the last week of $5,000 each from just 2 community individuals. And then in talking to others, we also had a pledge of 20,000 more that should come in shortly to get us out of this crunch. But like I say, our target is 150, because we really, to be sustainable, we have to build upon our membership, and we have to get those members that we've lost, or entice new members to come in. And like I said, just increasing by 10% would increase our revenue by 50,000. So we have to do that part to be sustainable in the future, for the interim or for forever.
So just to make one more quick comment. So I absolutely agree with your point that passionate leadership is of paramount importance when you're trying to establish and keep these types of facilities going. And I know, Chris has been involved with the YMCA for over a decade, if not longer. I don't know, Chris, what the number is. So we'd just like you to know that we absolutely understand your point, and we will make sure that we let the board of directors know that this is something that's important to your council, and we'll make sure that that's a priority for us as well. There are some new members, such as myself, but I think, one of the reasons that I became a member of the board for the YMCA is that I'm now committed to being a part of this community, so I want to see our community flourish. And we can't do that if we don't all get involved and take ownership. So while I have not been a part of this project for a long time, I am passionate about our community, and I really want to make it a great place to live. So I completely understand your point, and we will definitely take that back to the board.
To answer your question, Dr. Fury, I've been a member of the Y since 1992. So when I moved here 27 years ago, I said, well, I don't know anyone here. What can I do? So I became a member of the Y and started meeting new people through there, and been a member ever since. So 27 years. Thank you.
Councillor Cushing. Short one, I hope.
As the conversations go through and then the discussions and whatnot, there's always things that maybe one of us can pick up on, which I didn't. I just want to make mention. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You say YMCA National is coming to speak to town council about your situation?
Well, actually, they're coming to meet with us.
With you?
Right, and I guess they also would like to speak with council about support and the future of the YMCA.
How about councils?
Yeah, if you're.
Municipality of Yarmouth and Municipality of Argyle.
And that was going to be my question, are you also interested in speaking with them?
If we're spending money, we're interested.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, if I may, we've really extended your presentation time, so I only have a couple of quick questions and so on. At the first of your presentation, 56K from the town of Yarmouth, 12.5K from the municipality of Yarmouth, and 30K from Argyle. That is the yearly commitment that you're receiving at this time. Okay,
Yes.
Chris, your original email that you sent, that I received, and Victoria, you were looking for some, I'm going to say, the maintenance and repair of the pool.
Right.
That's where I thought you were directing. But you stated off here, you would like to see the municipality step up and match on a yearly basis and so on. Now, that money, the 56, the 12.5, and the 30, that goes into operating of the Y?
Right.
The daily operation.
That's right. Our major cost is the pool for, it's still
Yes.
an oil fired heating unit, so it's not an efficient pool because it
No,
was
I
built in
realize that.
67.
I realize
So,
that.
right, as we stated, it was, 248,000 of our budget.
Yeah.
So in that, yes, and the maintenance costs and the upkeep is what we phrase in. So we mentioned the number of Argyle because we thought that could be a minimum. We know that, you know, you have more residents and more usage of the Y. So we thought, you know, respectfully, that could be a minimum base where they stepped up because of our, you know, funding crunch. I think, yes, it was, the onus is on the pool because as a board, we spoke about, well, when we analyzed the numbers, to be truthful with you, you know, one of our members said, well, can we recover from this? Do we have to close the doors? And we said, well, we'll have a fundraising campaign. We want to, everyone is dedicated to keeping it open. So one of the pieces of funding is to come here as part of our, you know, rollout of asking, you know, everyone in the community. But with that, like I say, the biggest cost is the pool. And in respect to when I sent the email, it was because we had currently lost two air handling units.
yes.
And we were saying, where are we going to get the money from? So we did, and we were able to, and at the same
Access.
time, I spoke to individual donors who came forward with money enough for us to make those repairs and reopen the pool, which reopened 2 days ago.
Okay. I just want to make a couple of quick comments. It is not a municipal unit's prerogative to give money to the operation of an organization, to the daily operation. Usually municipal units will give grants for the repair of a roof, repair of a pool. The daily operations is not really what councils want to get into, because as you well realize, there is a lot of organizations out there that all of a sudden would be knocking on our door and asking us for that support. And we've noticed that seems to be a little more of the way it's going. I'm going to be honest with you, my point of view, and to my fellow councillors, that I am going to try, or I'm going to want to set up a meeting with my CAO and my Director of Finance, along with my Deputy Warden, just to have a sidebar discussion with them. Maybe there's something that we can work out, that you have to put in a yearly grant request of something. I don't know, but there again, too, my fellow councillors, I mean, it's their decision on if they wish to do on your yearly operating budget and so on. But like I say, me personally, I'd want to have that discussion and bring it forward to my fellow councillors, have my ducks in a row when we present that and move forward. The pool is a very important part of our community. The municipality of Yarmouth, years ago, when we started the swim program for the schools. We stepped up to that as quick as we possibly could because we seen the benefit of young people knowing how to swim and participating. Whether they went on to competition or not was not what we were after. We just wanted them to learn to swim, to be able to enjoy their recreation, and if they ever needed to be able to help being a lifeguard of something of this nature. So we know the value of the pool and so on. That's why we're looking at a new aquatic center and so on, hopefully, and so on in the very near future. But you did point out, could be up to 5 years. And yeah, you're right on. You're right on there. So let's try and maintain this one and so on. But my opinion and so on, and that's what I'll bring up discussion with my fellow councillors that I'd like to see us do. So if there's no further questions, go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I have another comment. I mean, just, I want to situate this argument, and I think in the way I see it, and I think that's the right way, but anyway. So, we've committed, to my understanding, to move forward with the Mariner Center upgrade, which would include a pool, which would include all the costs, operational, capital, all the types of things moving forward. So I think the ask of this organization is a little different than any other organization that comes to us.
Yeah.
Because I think we've communicated either directly or tacitly that we're going to take on the pool, the fitness center, along with the rink. Conceptually, we've made that leap. So this is just saying we're going to fund and keep the pool open until we upgrade the Mariner Center. We're already in my mind. We've already communicated that to our folks. We're in. We're supporting the pool and the Y and the whole 9 yards by saying that we're going to be part of the Mariner Center upgrade, because the pool will eventually be at the Mariner Center and will be part of our responsibility. We'll own it. So in a sense, and I mean not absolutely, but in my view, we have a big role to play here. So, and I would also respectfully like to say that all the council should be involved in this conversation, not just the warden and the CAO.
No,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be to have
So-
the discussion, to bring it before you guys.
No,
Yeah,
I think the
pick up
discussion
front.
needs to happen with everybody in the room at once.
Yes, it would be, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you very much for your presentation, and you'll be hearing from us shortly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Item number 7, new business, the Carlton Community Garden proposal. You have that in your package, councillors. There's just written information, and also there is I guess a bit of a breakdown map or illustrations of the proposal and so on. This was asked to be put on the agenda by the Deputy Warden, and as we well realize, he's not here today. But is there any thoughts, or do you wish to hold this over for later? Go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Well, I'd like to hold this over at least until Councillor Cunningham is back and able to take part in this conversation. I think it's something he brought
Yes. yes, he
in,
did.
so
Yep.
I just think it would be right if we wait for him to be part of it.
Okay, that's agreeable by councillors? Yep, okay, fine, thank you. 7.2, I'm not sure exactly how this, Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, World Scout Jamboree, airport traffic, I'm not sure, I don't understand it. Councillor T. Cunningham, go ahead, councillor.
I think there's a little confusion in
Yes.
it, but any event, the World Scout Jamboree, we did have a couple of participants from the municipality of Yarmouth go. It was in West Virginia, and it was wonderful. It was busy, good experience. So I'll make that comment, and yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. We'll move on to the next agenda item.
Okay, okay. I didn't know if you were looking at proposing that we apply for it through the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, eh? So, I'm not going to be late. How many people or how many young scouts at the Jamboree?
think the total number was 45,000. So they got to meet a lot of kids from all over the world. So they were from Japan, Russia, a lot of the African countries, South America. So no, it's quite something. The airports were very busy, and they did fly back out of Charlotte. So it was wild, and there were tour buses all over the place. So quite a thing. And I mean, we do have a scout contingent here, and lots of area to host such. Not that big an event, obviously. They have very specific facilities for that kind of event, but smaller events maybe, so that's something maybe we could look at with Yarmouth and Acadian Shores and others. So, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Councillor. 7.3, Nova Scotia Power smart meters. I received this as an email here last week or the week before, and I put it out. I'm not sure. I guess there's two sides to everything. The information that I received was quite lengthy, and it was the smart meters that are going to be installed in Southwest Nova in 2020, I believe, spring and fall, is it, of 2020, by Nova Scotia Power. There is some people that are very concerned. I have seen a few documentaries on TV about smart meters and so on, and they say the radio waves that are given off by these and so on, and they come out with all kinds. I didn't know if you, as my fellow councillors, had any concerns or had any residents that may have already spoken to you. It's something that they're going to be doing. It's just somebody comes in your yard and pull off the old meter, put on the new meter, and away they go. And the new meters are automatically read or every 15 minutes and so on. There won't be that gentleman coming around every 60 days and reading your meter reading and so on. But there is people out there that are concerned, so I didn't know what the feeling of you as councillor was. Go ahead, Councillor Allen.
Well, I just see here in a letter we received, is there any information on whether you can opt in or opt out of this?
Yep, so there is an opt-out procedure available on Nova Scotia Power's website. There's a cost to opt out, there's a deadline to opt out, and there's different ways, there's two different types of opting out. I had put out a message on the CAO listserv yesterday asking for information on who else has also received this correspondence. Has anybody been able to validate the claims that are made in our correspondence? Has anybody received a counter argument that is also validated? And have any councils taken a stance on the issue? I only had one response. It was from the municipality of Digby, and their council didn't take a stance on the issue.
Yeah, I'm not looking to take a stance, I don't believe. I'm just looking at if there's a way we should be informing our residents that maybe if they don't want to go to the smart meter, there is an opt-out, and because up until right now, I didn't know about it. So I'm sure not everyone would know about it. And there's a fee to leave your meter on.
No, there's a fee to opt out of the smart meters because it will be the anomaly technology, so it will cost more for the utility to administer services to you as a resident if you don't use the new
So if we don't
service
upgrade, you have to pay to keep things status quo.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds, yeah. But I guess I would just like to be able to, I'm just thinking that we should be able to educate our residents as to.
And the other piece we might be able to look into is, I don't think the utility and review board process is completely wound up. I think that there may be another opportunity for citizens to engage in, I think there's one more decision-making process at the UARB with respect to this initiative. So we can do two things. We can absolutely put the information out there about how to opt out if somebody chooses to, and we can also try to get accurate information about the UARB process and make sure our residents know about any opportunities that might still exist to comment or participate in hearings at the UARB. Okay.
Councillor Cunningham, go ahead.
Those are all good points, and I would like to also suggest that we just forward the letter to the Department of Environment and ask them to respond as to the, you know, ask them to comment as to what their understanding is and if there's any harm for residents and that type of thing, and because they're better situated. I mean, obviously in the letter, there's a lot of scientific citations, scientific papers, this type of thing, and our staff nor our council, I don't think, is equipped to deal with that volume of research. And again, obviously, this is one point of view, and there may be others, so perhaps we could just simply write a letter to the Department of Environment and close it and just say, ask for their comment, and
Yeah.
maybe we can move from there.
Councillor Christian? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd just like to comment on Councillor Allen's comments about how to get out of these smart meters. I never thought of it at the time, but I have seen it on Facebook about this person said you got to do this, and another person says you got to do that. So if we had something, as our CAO said, we have something concrete that we can circulate to our residents saying, if you don't want smart, this is what you have to do. There's two options. However, there is a cost if you stay the way you are. Am I correct in that? So that would be good to have, because again, I think we seen that earlier about when we had our discussion with our Public Works and our EMO person there about there's so many professionals out there that know about what the weather's going to do and how to do this and do that. So why don't we get something concrete, and which would be a good idea. So I'm certainly supportive of that.
I know, if I may, that we're on the web today, televised, that anybody is interested in finding information, they can go on, I believe, YouTube, and you'll see information on there about the smart meters and so on, or you can go on to Nova Scotia website, or the Nova Scotia Power website, and look up some. I mean, it's, when I received it and I started reading the long list of information and so on, I thought, well, I didn't see that it was passed on to my fellow councillors, so that's why I put it out to you and wanted to have it added here, because I seen the time frame was close, and so on, thought, well, we're here for our residents, if there's something that they need to know or whatever, a route that they can go. So we'll work on that and go from there. Was there any, that is the last bit of, on the agenda. Was there anything else that fellow councillors wish? If not at this time, we'll adjourn. Thank you.